Today I'm going to be bringing you my top tips for farming in Enshrouded, talking about which plants you want to farm and why, and also how you can get the different types of materials required for farming. Now, by the nature of this video, there is going to be some spoilers in here, so if you don't want to see those, please just skip to the sections that are relevant to you, or save this video for later once you've progressed in the game a little bit more to come back to. But without further ado, let's jump into it. If you do find this video useful and informative, make sure you drop me a like and subscribe down below, and let's get on with the video. So first things first then, to start off your farming journey in Enshrouded, you are going to need these seed beds. Now, seed beds can be created through the farmer once you have unlocked the farmer NPC, and if you go onto the craft menu here with her, you can actually go down and you can see seedbed is here. Now, seedbed will require wood logs, it will require metal scraps, and it will require farm soil. Now, farm soil is also a resource that you can get from the farming NPC. So if we head over to farm soil here, you can see that you need dirt and you need bone meal. Now, in order to get dirt, it's fairly self-explanatory. Take a pickaxe and go ahead and hit the floor. Pretty much anywhere that is looking like grass or like dirt, you will get dirt from that. Bone meal, you will need to have a couple of things here, so you will actually need to have the grindstone unlocked. Once you've got the grinding stone unlocked, you can see here that you'll just pop in bones, and once you pop in one bone, it will create 2 bone meal. So, like you can see here, we've created quite a lot of this. Now, for those of you that are a little bit newer to the game, the grinding stone actually comes from the alchemist, and you need to be able to craft this with flintstone and stone. Again, fairly self-explanatory. Stone is just if you dig a little bit further down in the ground than the dirt, you will get stone, or in any of the stone mountains that you see around the spawn. And looking at my map, this is where you are asked to build your first home. If you actually just go pretty much straight forward, there'll be a little patch of flint on this hill right here, which everybody should have in their game. And you can go ahead and mine into the ground. You can see there's a fair bit of flint there, which will be definitely enough to get you started on those materials. So once you've gone ahead and put the seed bed down, you can do as many of these as you would like. We've done 5, but you could easily do more or less than this depending on how many crops that you actually want to produce. What you want to do is head over to it and see what the requirements are. Now, very early doors, I would definitely recommend getting yourself some plant fibre, whacking it in here, and it is going to be 1 plant fibre for 5 shrub seedlings. You can then basically create an infinite amount of plant fibre, as much as you will ever need in the game. If we just take a little look here outside our base, you can see we still have a load of it here, and that is after using up pretty much all of what we will need for it. Now, obviously, as you progress into the game, there is going to be other things that you want to get, for example, red mushrooms, so that will also require bone meal. Now, I showed you how to make the bone meal before. You pop that with the mushrooms in here. 1 red mushroom and 1 bone meal will make you 5 red mushroom seedlings. Once they grow, you can obviously then harvest them, and you've got more than what you put in. So it's a great way to get stocked up on this. A lot of the different things you will need to grow here do require water. So for example, tomatoes, once you get hands on with these, or strawberries, you will see that they require water as well as the thing and the farm soil. Now, we know how to get farm soil, we know how to get the strawberries, we go and pick them up. Water, obviously, we know how to get, it's from the wells. Now, at some point in the game, you can see here you are able to build your own water well, which is very, very useful, because you can actually go ahead and grab water from this. The longer you leave it up, the more water it has, so you can go ahead and continuously keep scooping this for a few turns, which is very, very nice. In order to build yourself a well, you want to head over to the carpenter NPC. Once you've unlocked them, you want to head down to the bottom here where it says water well, and you actually want to get yourself this one. Now, the water well will require linen, stone, and a wooden bucket. The wooden bucket you can actually make from the carpenter himself with wooden planks, metal sheets, and charcoal. You go ahead and make that one fairly easily early on. Then you just need stone and linen. Again, from the spinning wheel, you can get some linen, so that should be pretty easy to do. Alternatively, again, if you have made your base in the location that the game recommends at the start, which is somewhere around about here, right next to us is Long Keep. Now, if you just head over into Long Keep, you'll be able to see that there is actually a well right in the middle here that you can actually go to as well. And this functions like the one that you can build at your base. The longer you leave it before you harvest from it again, you can actually just get more water, and you can scoop this a fair few times. It recharges slowly over time. So you can go ahead and get up to 15 water at a time from this if you haven't gathered from it recently. And that's another really good way next to the base that you can get hands on with some more water. Alright then, when we get into later in the game, we will start getting things like wheat seedlings, which will require water, wheat grains, and fossilized bone dust. Now, fossilized bone dust is something a lot of people have kind of been stuck on for a while, so I'll go through how you can get hands on with this one. Now, to make it, you obviously want to head over to the grinding stone here and you browse your recipes. You can see that fossilized bone dust is here. Now, it costs 1 fossilized bone in order to make 3 of the dust, so it's fairly simple once you work out where fossilized bone is from. Now, depending where you are in the game, if you have unlocked the Nomad Highlands fast travel, this is one of the best locations and the safest locations in order to get fossilized bone. You simply go to this ancient spire here, so the Nomad Highlands fast travel one, and you go down to the left where you can see on the map these claw looking things, and all of the bone stuff here is fossilized bone. So you can actually bring yourself up to the top of this spire and you can glide nicely down to it regardless of what level glider you have. This is fairly easy, and all of this stuff that you can see here is fossilized bone. Now, there is other locations on the map where this is available, but this particular area is my favourite because it's very easy to access. You can literally just fly off the spire straight to it, bring a pickaxe with you, and you simply mine into it. And as you will see on the top left-hand side or middle left-hand side of my screen there, you're getting fossilized bone just by mining this up. And it does also give you a little bit of XP, so if you haven't reached max level yet, you're going to get some XP from doing this as well. Alright, so now moving on to some even more endgame stuff, we've got aloe seedlings here. Now, for those of you that have got to endgame, you'll know that aloe is very useful for crafting those clean bandages, and so you will want to be growing this as soon as you can. Now, the thing is here, you need aloe, you need water, which we know how to get. You collect the aloe plants, you collect the water from the wells. Sand, fairly self-explanatory. Any sandy area you mine into the floor with a pickaxe, you will pick this up. But nitrate is the thing that has a lot of people stuck. Now, again, this is a little bit of a spoiler, so if you haven't got this far in the game, maybe skip ahead to the next section. But if you do want to know about it, you go over here to your laboratory, and as you can see, nitrate is a recipe in this station where you will need sand, salt, wood acid, and alchemical base in order to be able to make nitrate. Now, you can see here that I already have 50 of this made. Just as a quick thing here, how to make the wood acid and the alchemical base. Alchemical base is made on the alchemy station, and you'll need shroud liquid, mycelium, water, and shroud spores. Not too hard to get, but you can see how this water is really adding up because it's used in a lot of different things. And the wood acid is actually made in the charcoal kiln with wood logs and dirt. So again, very easy to get hands on with. Once you've unlocked this recipe, start making it, and you'll be able to get your hands on nitrate when you have unlocked the laboratory there. Now, again, another end game plant that we're looking at here is saffron, and this one is going to require water and saffron itself, but also fertilized farm soil. So this is going to lead me nicely onto the different types of soil that you can plant your crops in, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But just to show you how you actually get hands on with fertilized farm soil, because we know regular farm soil from before, you go down to the farming NPC like last time, and you actually go into the craft menu, and what you will need for this is sand, fossilized bone dust, and nitrate. So like I showed you guys just previously in this video how you could get hands on with both of those items, you will need those, and you'll be able to make some fertilized farm soil. So in Enshrouded, there is essentially 3 types of dirt that you are able to plant your crops on. One being the regular grass and regular dirt. You can mine this out and replace dirt blocks with the build menu if you want to. You can go into here, and if you actually go onto it, press tab and go down to terrain, you can place, like a box here, and if you've got regular dirt in your inventory, you can select that one and make an area using the rake then if you want to do so, or you can just go ahead and plant it straight into the grass. That is absolutely fine as well. The second tier is the regular farm soil. Now, this makes crops grow at about double the rate of the regular grass, so using farm soil where you can is highly recommended by me. I would say this is a very strong option, and it will be very, very helpful for things like flax. I am going to talk about what plants I recommend growing as well in a moment, but flax and things like strawberries, which take a long time to grow, this is going to be very helpful because you're going to need a lot of them, and chamomile as well. And then, of course, the third and final tier, which is the fertilized farm soil, which you can see here. I've got my flax growing in this right now, and this is about double the speed of the regular farm soil, or about 4 times the speed of the regular grass. So you certainly want to be using this as soon as you do get it unlocked, and you have the ability to make the components for it. It's going to speed up your progression with your farming quite a lot. Now, a really important tip to be aware of with this is that actually, if you just have enough for one piece of farm soil, you can go ahead into the terrain menu menu, you can place this fertilized farm soil down, or the farm soil regularly, whatever you've got. Go ahead and go onto your rake, and if you make sure you stand on top of this, as you can see my rake is at an angle now, so if you make it flat, you stand on top of it, make sure the blue circle radius is directly on top of the material that you want to spread, hold down left click and move your mouse around, and you can see that you could quite easily make a nice area for plants with this. This is a super cool feature. I don't know if it's going to be changed in the future, but spreading with the rake makes the rake very, very useful, and it also means that you're going to spend less materials in order to get the fastest crop growing available to you. So once you can make one piece of this, you can essentially have a full flower bed worth of it, which is very, very nice indeed. So certainly you get on that as soon as you can. Alright then, so what crops do I recommend that you grow? Firstly, of course, early game plant fibre is going to be massively important, so getting those shrubs up and going so you've got an infinite supply of string and all the other things that you're going to need there is really, really important. You can also grow some mushrooms and some regular purple berries if you feel the need to do that as well, but there is quite a lot of those around the starting zones. The next thing I would recommend is when you get to the sort of early to mid game, flax. As soon as you get your hands on flax and you can make flax seeds, certainly get this growing. You will need flax and in turn linen for lots and lots of stuff in the game, especially towards the late game. You're going to need a lot of this, or the late game I should say, for early access, because of course we don't have everything unlocked right now, but where we have up to in the early access you're going to need a lot of linen, so certainly get on that. I also really, really like growing chamomile. Personally, I think this is a very, very useful plant to have. Chamomile tea is very, very good for stamina and health regen, so you're going to want to make that. Again, same with strawberries for the health regen. Those have been very, very helpful. And of course, wheat, once you get to endgame for the food there, is definitely something you want to work on. For any other suggestions, I would recommend going on here to the farming NPC and having a look at the different types of food available. If we have a look at other food, for example, boiled eggs, we can't farm those, as it were, in terms of farming. But things like your chamomile tea, this is why I said this is great. Health regen and endurance. So you're definitely going to want to have that on, because endurance does give you extra stamina, so it's great for all sorts of exploring and gathering. When you get further in the game, you can also make spiced tea with saffron. So again, I would highly recommend getting saffron plants down when you can in the late game. Constitution, meat wrap is your best food here. This is going to require flour, so again, another great reason to get the wheat down. Strength foods, we're going to be looking at the open sandwich. This one is going to require you to have a flatbread, which is going to use the wheat and the flour in the oven. Also more saffron for this, so again, a couple of good ones to get down at late game. In terms of mid game, chicken soup on Constitution, you're going to need bell peppers, so maybe plant some of those ones, as well as forest beets. Intelligence here, we're looking at the mushroom omelette. Again, you're going to need red mushrooms even up until late game with this, so maybe planting some of those early doors is going to be a really, really good idea. Dexterity, we're looking at vegetable soup, which is kind of the mid to late game one. Tomatoes, bell peppers and forest beets, and then on your vegetable puree you're going to need forest beets there as well, so again they're used in quite a lot of this stuff. Healing foods, we're looking at fruit bowls, we're looking at purple berries, strawberries, yucca fruits, so any of those are really good. And of course, it would be amiss to mention farming without actually looking at your honey beehives. Towards the very, very end game, you can start making honey beehives. These are really, really useful because they're going to allow you to actually collect honey from them. So what you can do is you go ahead and craft this, and you can place it wherever you would like to around your base. I'm going to go ahead and place mine on a little pedestal down here. We can go ahead and pop that one on, and as you can see, you go into there, you put in water and sugar, and it will produce 5 honey. So that's going to be a really, really crucial thing for the end game as well. With this, you can also make wax from plant fibre and water, so again, going back to those shrubs, you certainly want to get a lot of those going as soon as possible. Now again, forewarning, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but with the spinning wheel or the hand spindle, you do need 2 flax per linen. When you do get towards the end of the game, as it currently stands in the early access, you can of course build a spinning wheel, and this will offer you linen for 1 flax, but again you're going to need a lot of it because this then builds up into your stuff in the hunter here. So things like your padding, you're going to need fabric, you're going to need linen. To make fabric, you actually go into your looms here. Looms are going to require 5 linen per fabric, so you can see how this very, very quickly adds up, and you're going to need a fair bit of it. But also with this, it's worth noting for some of the armor sets, you do need the coloured fabrics, which require things like, you can see here, mint mushroom meat, saffron, indigo plants and sulfur. So the blue one and the yellow one, you can make saffron and you can make indigo plants in your farms. So these are again something to consider for the late game that you're probably going to want to get hands on with. So basically there's a lot of farming to do in this game, and pretty much all of the plants and crops are going to be worth it, but there's certain ones that you want to focus on early, and that, in my opinion, is shrubs. it is flax, and it is some sort of food, so strawberries, and then of course chamomile for chamomile tea. I think those are going to be your best friends in the game, mid to late game, early game, whatever stage you're at, you're always going to need those resources, so I reckon those are your best bets in terms of where to put the most time and effort early doors. If any of you have got any other tips or things that you think I've missed, leave them down below in the comments. Let's share all the knowledge we can together down there. If this video has helped you out, make sure to leave me a like and a subscribe down below to make sure that you stay up to date with all of my uploads. There's going to be tons more Enshrouded content coming to the channel very, very shortly. Other than that, thanks for watching, take care, and peace.